Alright, welcome back to the messy garage. We did brakes already on my E90 right here, and now today I'm going to do the brakes on this behind me, this F30. The rear brakes, since I bought the car, the rear brakes have been, well, they were rusted when I got the car. The rotors were. So I've always hated it, but you know, they work, so I had other things to spend my money on. Now I need new pads and rotors, so we are going to replace them. What we're going to do is we're going to replace this rotor. I've already done on the other side. I left this one for you guys to show because it's got the brake sensor wire on this one, so it's a little bit more involved. Everything on the other side is exactly the same, except for you don't have to worry about the brake sensor wire. So if you can do this one, you can do both of them. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this retaining bolt off, and I've already sprayed it down with some PD Blaster just to make sure that it is not stuck. If you've got an older car, this one happens to be an F30 and it does not see inclement weather at all, so you can't tell that by the rotors because I'm the second owner, so somebody did. But it doesn't see winters, so there's no rust in there, so mine came off actually pretty easy. I have had those on other BMWs and Mini Coopers break off, so just be warned. So back here on the caliper, you've got two plastic caps. You're going to want to take both those off and set them aside. Alright, so this bolt here that I just took out is a 6mm Allen, and the pins in here for the caliper are 8. A little tight, so we'll see. Nope, that one came out actually pretty easy. I want to get both of these started at least. I don't want to take one. Prior to taking these all the way out, I like to take this spring off as well, just because it's one less thing to do later. And this caliper is held in place nicely, so you don't have to worry about it moving around. So I put my screwdriver in between the spring and the rotor, and then I just rotate it, and that takes the tension off and pops it out. So set that aside. Now I can finish taking out the pins. Now with these, oftentimes if they're not lubed up real well, they could be a bit sticky, and so they don't want to come out all the way real easy. What I do is as I'm turning it, I kind of put a little pressure and wiggle it out to start moving it to come out of its little collar. And there's the first one. Second one. Alright. Nothing is holding the caliper in right now to the carriage. So this is a good time to actually find something. I like to use a piece of string or zip ties or a piece of wire if you have it. You want to pull the caliper out. You might have to wiggle a little bit because the brakes have been engaged. One brake pad will come out. The whole idea is you don't want to have the brake pad or the brake caliper hanging by the brake line. You don't want to put any pressure on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tie it up somewhere out of the way. So holding this part of the caliper on, there are two 16mm bolts that need to be taken out. So it's best to get a wrench on them. find something to do a little sweet talking. So once that's loose, it should be able to come out. Let's loosen the other one up. Finish taking this off. With the caliper off but suspended over here, and we took the carrier off. Now we need to try to get this rotor off. We've taken the retaining screw out, but it doesn't want to come. This is pretty standard, especially with this amount of corrosion on it, and I don't know, like I said, this hasn't seen winter, so I don't know where this came from, but it was like that when I got in the car. So you need to coax it. What you want to do is hit around the hub straight into it. You don't want to bang on the back of it. You don't want to bend the metal around here, the dust shield. So you just want to just tap here, and when I say tap it, it's going to be a tap. It's going to be, you know, a hit, but you want to clean, you want to break this corrosion loose, and some PB Blaster also helps. I've already pre-treated it with that. There you go. Not a bad time to spray some brake cleaner in there. Wipe this off. I know a lot of guys like to take a wire brush and clean this off, which is actually probably a good idea. I don't have one right now, so I'm just gonna be a little ghetto on it and just throw it back together again. What I do suggest is that you get some anti-seize though. And I'm gonna put that on the hub. Now some rotors come with a coating on them that you need to clean off. These did not. So just find out if yours did. If it did, then clean them before putting them on. I don't know if it's a huge deal, but I like to not touch the face of the rotor too much, just to keep it clean as possible. We're going to put our retaining nut back in here. This doesn't need to be super tight. Actually, you don't want it to be super tight because it will break off. All it really does is hold the rotor in place. Your wheel and the studs or lug bolts are going to hold everything together, and it's not going to come off because you have the carrier. Okay, so you'll see the two holes that we need to hit up here, one there and one here. That's where we're going to line these bolts up, and let's do top one first. Once this is in there, the brake caliper. So for that, they make tools to do that, but I am going to use a C-clamp like I have on most cars. And so what I do, the method I use is, since these only have to be pushed straight back, what I'm doing, I'm taking a C-clamp and just pushing, using the pad, the old pad, not the new pad, the old pad. Using the old pad, I'm using that to push against with the C-clamp, and it pushes the piston back into the caliper. You need to push these all the way in, or else you're not going to get your new brake pads on. Brake sensor wire right here, and we'll be replacing it. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so in order to get to the brake sensor wire, you got to take off the fender liner, or at least pull it back a little bit. So that's what we're going to do now. And this is a it's 11 millimeter here. Little nut, and then there's an 8. I don't know that we need to take the 8 out, so well, I'll show you what we're gonna do. Move the camera over. All right, so as I pull the fender liner back, you can see the box right here. So this box has 2 clips on it. Undo those clips, and then now we just need to chase which wire is the brake sensor wire. It's gonna be one of these 2. And do that again. All right, so here is the old brake pad and the sensor wire attached to it. Here's the new sensor wire. I've routed it up under the fender liner. I gotta tighten that back up and put it in the clips and brought it out to over here where the caliper is gonna go. The thing we need to do now is we need to connect this new one to our new brake pad. Keep in mind that the back brake pad where the sensor goes is the one with the clips. Here's what the new brake pad looks like. Here's the old one. Yeah, we were well overdue. So what we want to do is route this over here where it's going to be with the caliper. Make sure that we can get the brake pad situated to be in the caliper. This way. See that? So I'm going to put it over this way like that, as if it was in. I'm going to take the sensor wire through the back of the caliper. And attach it to this piece right here. It's going to plug right into that little hole. There we go, it should sit in there nicely. Alright, so now it's going to be a matter of getting our new brake pad on this side. We're going to want to put that in like this. So it sits in there. And then we're going to slide this around. A couple things I need to do before I do that is, one, I'm going to lube this brake pad up really good on these little dog ears. I like to put lube on the back, but also helps cut down on some squeal. I'll put that back in. I'm going to put some grease. This is what I usually use, brake parts grease here, and then also in the same places on the rear pad. And then put it all back together. Make sure not to get any of the grease on the brake pad material for obvious reasons. And then one last place that the brake sensor wire attaches is on the loop that is on the back of the bleeding cable, the bleeding valve for your caliper. So you just pull that off and then tuck the sensor wire under it, put the cap back on. So at this point, everything's in place. The next thing we need to do, make sure that stays there. We're going to take the pins back and lube them up and make sure that they have enough lubrication. Slide in the back where we took them out. Attach them. So I just like to put grease along the pin and the threads. And when you're doing this, you're attaching it, you're gonna probably have to wiggle a little bit to get them started in the back. I like to start all these by hand first before I put a wrench on them, because if you force it, you're gonna end up cross-threading something at some point. We replaced our dust caps now. You just push those in place. Last thing to do is to put the spring on. This is always those pain in the butt things. So the way I like to do it, I like to get this first clip in the hole and this up against here, like this. So at least you know you got it halfway in. And then it's a matter of just, I like to get this other lip here on the top of the carrier, and then with a screwdriver go between here again and try to take some of the tension off that spring. Can't really see what I'm doing, but what I'm doing is I'm pushing this, compressing the spring in a little bit, and I'm pushing down here to get this piece in the hole. This one's already in the hole. This one's not all the way in there. So I'm gonna put some more compression there, and it should be all secure. All right, and that is it. The job is actually done. I'm gonna put the wheels on. All right, so we're gonna reset the brakes now. What we'll do is, without your foot on the brake pedal, you want to just push start so it goes into accessory mode. Alright, then you want to press down the tripometer and then press it down again and hold it. Then you're going to see that the rear brake pads can be reset. You want to press and hold it again. Let go when it says reset, and then when it says reset question mark, press and hold it again, and you'll see the reset in progress. And you see it there, and you also see it on the screen. So the brakes have now been reset, and when you start the car, you don't get any more messages saying that your brake system has a problem and you need to drive moderately. Alright, so that is the brake job. It's very easy on an F30, very easy on actually most cars. So like and subscribe if you will. I don't do this for a living. I'm just building up the channel. It's kind of fun. I like working on cars and I like cars in general. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Just you know, let me know you guys are watching. If there's any suggestions of things that you want me to do in the future with the F30 I've got here, or the E90 that I've been working on also, leave them in the comments below, and check out my Instagram at Messy Garage BMW. All right, thanks.